Hello, this is a little sneak peek into what our group coaching sessions are like. This is an unedited version of one of our sessions, and you can see the group dynamic and how we've all become pretty close knit in this community. And just you can see my coaching style and see how the group interacts. And hopefully, this gives you some insight onto what to expect inside the group coaching mastermind program called the Inner Triangle. Thank you.
First of all, thanks to all you guys who've signed up to have a look and have a peek. Realized after last week that there was a little bit of some UX issues just to get past the first hurdle. So do read the instructions if you want to have a look around it.
Okay.
It's pretty
So can you just
pretty simple.
refresh the page to
Wait, oh, it's in screen share. Is it?
I can if you want to screen share, yeah.
Is that? So I'm not sure if that's what you're asking me.
No, so I was asking if so you said you've updated some things.
Oh,
Can
I
I
see.
just refresh my like Excel spread Excel Google Sheets page and it'll refresh with like the new UX?
No.
No. Okay.
No, not quite. What I can do is I've got a sort of master link back so I can update the text, and to some degree make some small changes that are universal. Um, but for no for UX, this is why I need to, you know, consider this an alpha test and really
Okay.
and launch out. So yeah, if you want to just have a go at it and use it, you can. Well, any of you guys who want to can have a go through
Yeah, I just
that.
wanted to make sure that I had the latest version because I've had it up on my tab for a few days, so it could I just not be looking at the latest one.
I see. No, ignore the UX just for the moment. That's on my to do bug list just for
Okay.
to get through it, and I'll release another version of that um, to whoever wants, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's been a pretty full on week. Interestingly, I've been in touch with a couple of guys in Instagram as well who are really quite excited to see what I've got going on. One of which is a 200k account and exclusively to designers. I don't know if you're familiar with Design Spective, Jacob. It's a um, it's a curated account of carousels basically. A load of people tried to do it, but there was one
Oh
that's
yes, I recognize the logo. Um, but yeah, I don't follow too many curated accounts.
yeah, yeah. So that's pretty good though. It seems like there's
Hmm.
in terms of getting stuff out there initially,
Hmm.
it seems
Totally.
like there um, might be some opportunity there, which is good. So for those of you who've been in touch with me in Slack, and I've been poking you this week, I've been really struggling to nail down the pricing for this, or at least for a launch. Surprisingly, a lot more difficult than I anticipated with a product. When it came to services, you put a price, and then next time round you try and double it, and you see how it sticks. And you just keep going until you hit a ceiling. That's been my experience over the last 10 years. Um, with this product, I want to get it right first time. Really, I know that's not going to be the case, but it needs to be reasonably right. Um, so that's been my biggest pain and struggle probably this week. Other than then, I'm just working on actually getting all the system set up ready to launch and do get the marketing campaigns ready to go. But
I think one of the issues is that we haven't clearly defined the person yet. So once you know the customer, you can have a better idea of how to price the product. But right now, it's just a bit in the air. Is that how you're feeling?
no, I think I'm probably a little bit narrower in on that. Um, when people land, I guess it's a little bit more complex to explain rather than just one audience. It'd be
Yeah, that's the
two
thing.
audience types. Yeah, there'll be two audience types specifically. There will be the audience type of the sort of the business owner small small business owner or startup entrepreneur who'll do the course for themselves. So the reason why I'm keeping that in is because actually I don't have to do an awful lot of adaptation other than when I go to record the videos. I'm gonna have sort of two separate walkthroughs, two different approaches. The second approach is then for the um, the designer who wants to become a strategist, or a small agency who wants to offer brand strategy. That the framework's there, so it'll be a slightly different approach. There's those two types of audiences. Straight off the bat, but I mean, my initial focus is going to be on selling it to the kind of the agents, let's say the workshop holders, the agencies, designer types. So yeah, that's who's for.
But in your message to me, you said your plan is planning to sell 3 packages, right? So single project license,
Yeah,
and then an unlimited projects license.
yeah.
So single is for like a one-off, and then multiple is for like a designer or agency. I'm just presuming here, and one-to-one
I
3 month coaching is
I've
for.
gone back and yeah, I've
You've
gone back
changed
and
it.
forth on
Okay.
this so much this week. For those of you who've given me some feedback, I'm like, all right, yes, I'm dead set. I'm going to go for that. And then I hear, do you know what? I think this would be the approach that I would have really appealed to me. And I'm like, oh man, this is this is tough. So where I am now is I'm going to do an unlimited license. Sorry, a perpetual license on a single use project, only for the end user. So only for the businesses who are doing it for themselves, who'll do the self-paced course and go through it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So my thinking is somewhere between $500 to $1,000, something in that region. Startup sort of territory or the likes. And then on the other side, what I've been toying with is the idea of doing just unlimited seats. Sorry, not unlimited seats. Unlimited projects for the agent type, so
Mm-hmm.
the reseller. But actually, what I can do is I can have it so that it could be 1 seat or up to 3 seats, up to 5, 7, 9 seats, depending. So a sort of a scalable license with that on a sort of a monthly fee. So I'm thinking like something along the lines of starting at around $100 a month, and if they can sell as many projects as they like with sort of one user, one
Okay.
Gmail address basically.
So it's a subscription model with an upfront fee.
I know Luan was encouraging me to do that. I have no idea. Um, I don't know. I don't know yet. Yeah, too many variables.
There's a lot of options and a lot of configurations. So yeah, that is a tough one to crack.
Yeah.
What's the
So,
what's the biggest like what's the biggest thing that's holding you back from like making this decision? What's the biggest challenge for you?
well, what I want to do is make the most of the opportunity when I launch. I don't want to get it wrong. I need to make some money initially as well. Um, yeah, I think I've just read too many stories now where somebody's launched at such a price and they didn't get anything, and then they changed the price and all of a sudden they got 150 people signed up the next day or something.
Yeah.
It's that's the challenge, and also I'm constantly trying to keep reminding myself how much work I've put into this and how much
Mm,
value it's going to give out, and not to give it
totally.
away.
Yeah.
It's like there's a temptation of just lower your price, make it more tempting, but that might not be the case. It might have the opposite impact.
Yeah, it can definitely go the other way, just like wine,
Yeah,
put a high price tag on it. It looks taste better.
Yeah, I'm just seeing some of the comments coming in. Yeah.
So wasn't reading the comments. I was reading your message to me. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if people I didn't realize I was chatting so much. So if people do want to talk or suggest, like maybe we can just put up our hand at any point if you do want to chip in. Um,
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys as well because you're very much in the mix of
yeah, Antonio.
the clientele, really. Yeah, and Antonio's got his hand up.
Uh, I think you have two different packages, right? One for the end user and another for the agencies.
Pretty much.
Okay, so you have two completely different use cases and two completely different audiences, right?
Yeah, they're totally different. Yeah.
Why don't you focus on one at
Yep.
launch? And for now, you just ignore the rest. I mean, if someone else wants to learn and buy the course, they I don't think that will hurt you on the long run, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, the plan is to focus on the agents first, the designers, the resellers first. Because what that'll do is actually that'll bring in potentially a whole lot of sort of testimonials from the end users anyway, of success. So then I can redeploy that into launching it for the single users later on. So that is probably what I will be doing. Actually, more than likely that I will be doing because otherwise I'm not going to have enough time to get there.
Well, that may make it a little bit easier in the beginning. But what's your concern, like moving for the future?
My concern, I don't have so much concern for the future other than, I mean, other than just getting the work done, getting it out there. What I will do and what I'm aiming to do is launch it so that the phase one is ready, so the brand strategy is ready. So for the guys who are the early adopters, they'll have access to that straight away. They could do a brand strategy workshops with the clients, potential clients, straight away, no problem. And then I'm working on building the other two sections, which will then just launch as and when they come with a name. It's interesting actually. If I was just focusing on the agents or the resellers, I probably actually will offer those guys 3 different tiers, even at that. So as I said, one with 1 seat. Then the second tier up will be, maybe 3 seats or up to 3 seats. But I'll also include a white labeled version of the document, so you can change the logos out and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then just with the limitations that I've got just at this moment, this sort of top tier, I can do a white label version, but I can also then just create potentially other potentially other templates and things like that for those guys, different color palettes, different this and that. I'm not quite so sure as to how flexible the tool is for really changing it, but that's not really the point. It's just to get information out there fast and get it over to your clients.
Okay, there's another question. One, are you promoting it as a course or a tool?
Yeah, I'm going to promote it as a tool.
Okay.
Rather than a course. In fact, I've just set up a new website. Masterplan.pro is what I went for. It took me far too long to come up with the value proposition for Masterplan.pro is what I've got. But this is how I'm selling it just at the moment. The title is Build an Unforgettable Brand. I've got faster there, but that word's probably likely to change if any of them are.
Mm-hmm.
And then the brand strategy toolkit that makes it easy for businesses and consultants to build a professional brand without spending a fortune. So I think I'm getting closer to summarizing what I'm trying to sell.
Yep. I was just looking at Mike Jander's page yesterday and how he he does it as well. Just like the verbiage he uses, it's very hard to condense like so much into a paragraph. I understand, but yeah, it's a good start. I like how the building and that all ties in together, like the master plan, and it's clever from the beginning. So just running with that theme, I think there's a lot of legs on that.
I hope so. I hope so. And I mean, what I'm working on over the next couple of weeks now is building the email. What do you want to call it? Sequences, I guess.
Yep.
For the guys to nurture them and to bring them into it and keep it going for a while after. It's a lot of writing ahead of me, I see as well.
Yeah, it never ends.
I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Never ends. I was going to say the pricing. So Stephen, for his course, the BMS course, he had a lower price in the beginning for about a year, and then he upped the price for about a year later. And then you can always use that strategy to have like discounts, like for sale promotions, and to take it back to that price in certain days, obviously. So that's just another take on it.
Yeah.
And I think over time you'll like the better it'll get, right? So that price just seems logical, like to up it.
Yeah. There'll be a lot more added to it over time, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think we answered your question, but at least we had a good discussion. You have a few options, but yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited for you. It's such a cool product and so unique, and you put so much effort into it. So I don't have any doubt that it's going to be a success. So yeah, thank you, Dan.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to jump into Luan because we were talking about his presentation before. He just presented it this morning to an updated deck based on becoming more strategic and showing the services you now offer and a new process, right? So.
Yep, that's right. Yes. So just to recap, I had a call with one of our clients about some plans that they have for 2021, where basically they just want to change the ways that they are approaching design concepts, where at the moment it's not really informed by a clear brief or anything like this. They just see what other ones are doing, trying to come up with something similar and copy pretty much what the other ones are doing and how they're doing, thinking that that will work for their business. And they basically just throw it out there, see if it works. If it doesn't work, they just recall the products and then go for the next option.
Copycats.
And yeah, and that's pretty much what they do, because they very often look at even the design style that other companies are doing, their tone of voice and how they are communicating, and try to incorporate these into their business and just get customers confused because one range is not talking to you in the same way as the other range.
Yeah, and like I noticed that you was like Aldi and Lidl were the competitors, and they already have a copycat strategy. Like they're copying other brands and just making it look like their own. Yeah, so it's like copycat of copycat.
Totally. Copycat of copycat. Yeah, and the funny thing is that this client that we are working with, they have always tried to position themselves as a more premium brand.
Interesting.
But at the same time, they are trying to compete with the discounters. So there's a clash of objectives there. Like they're not really clear what they want to do and who their customers are. So the call that I had with them a couple of weeks ago was just trying to present them with our process and tell them, okay, we need to basically go back to what is your brand, what does your brand stands for, like what's Dune Stars all about, before we look at what the ranges should look like. And I had the chat with the food director and the design manager, and they were very positive about the whole approach. The only thing is that would be too big of a project for them to try to get done now. And the people above the food chain there will not be interested to go through all this branding exercise. So their request was basically to just go, okay, if we don't go through a full rebranding and we just focus on range by range basis, trying to design ranges that do have clear objectives, that has a clear outline of who their customers are, what's their needs, and how we're going to answer to their needs, would be a good framework for us to start with. And that's the deck that I shared with you yesterday.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which basically is just kind of filtering down a branding exercise into a more range focused exercise. So
yeah, so it's like a brand sprint, but for the different ranges.
Yeah, pretty much, and get them all to basically think about launching ranges with the customers in mind, as opposed to just be random ranges to see if it works or not. And what I tried to outline there was just basically just a simple exercise on how to identify who the target audience is, what are their needs, and how the range will be answering to their needs, and then get it all collected to a design brief, and then just outline how we would approach the design process, basically.
Got you. Okay.
So it was pretty well received this morning, which is good, because that's us just trying to step into a more strategic partnership with this client, as opposed to just be artwork production house. They then requested me to send this deck over to them, and they will basically implement that process as part of their brand compliance system that they're putting into place now, which is a great thing. So whether they work with Pixelink or any other design agency, this framework is what they will be using to build briefs and everything else. So it's a good thing, just trying to establish ourselves as a more strategic partner as opposed to design.
Yeah, and you're the ones that made them do it, so it's memorable.
Yeah, that was a positive thing. So I'm happy that we managed to get that one in. So it will probably be December or January by the time we get any projects started, because they're still building a whole lot of systems on the background.
Yep.
Well, it's promising. It's promising for next year anyway.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm really glad that it went so well, and I love that you've changed your, I guess, position in your business to become that strategic partner. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's a first small step. So hopefully we will be able to keep pushing that direction and get other clients to see their way. And I want to use this deck as a starting point for us to review our processes on the website and how we sell our services, and talk less about the production side and more about the strategic side and what results we can basically deliver to the clients.
Absolutely.
So that's the focus now.
That's great. That's great. So what are the next steps then for, I guess, that partnership and your like moving forward? How are you going to integrate that into your website or your other material? Like what are you seeing?
For now, once we get this all in place with this client, we want to get a couple of projects completed using this framework and use as case studies for our website. I think for Pixelink website, we had started working on the overall Pixelink branding, let's say, a couple of months ago, but we just had to park this project because of client work. So it kind of was just kind of left behind, but we need to restart this and just review what do we want to do, what we want to be known for, and how are we going to sell this process, and what value are we bringing to the clients basically by using this process. So it was great to use the BMS and the core as starting points, just for us to figure out what bits can we use and how can we use and tailor that to our clients' needs. So even the deck that you saw there is a mix mash of I did notice
of
everything.
It's good, but I like the structure. I think a lot of people could learn from that if they're not already doing it. It's pretty much like you set up the problem, and this is the situation you're at now, and this is the problem, and here's how we can fix it, what we can do to fix it, and without giving them the solution. So you set up very well, and I guess that's what most solid presentations follow.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, that's good. So that was a good thing. Tomorrow we have another chat with another client that we are doing a full. It's pretty much a full 360 rebranding exercise, and I was listening very careful to Adele's and Antonio's chat a couple of weeks ago, just about how they can use Core and the BMS brand intensive into basically build a brand intensive document using findings from Core as well as the framework from the BMS. And I reached out to Antonio, who was kind enough to share an example of the brand intensive that he had put together for one of his clients. So it was very helpful for me to then get all the findings that we had from the core session that we had with this client, put into the brand intensive framework, and then get that combined with the stylescapes, which we have built a couple of weeks ago and will be presented tomorrow, actually. So fingers crossed they do get it all well received. I think we got 3 good stylescapes directions that are answering to their needs. So
okay, so you've actually included stylescapes within the brand intensive presentation.
Pretty much, yeah. So I basically recap what we are setting to achieve, what their vision, values, and all these kind of things that they want to be known for, and then pick what attributes we want to communicate within each of the stylescapes, and then present each stylescape on its own page. So they basically get reminded about what we are set to achieve, and then how that's translated visually.
Okay, great.
That's the idea and the strategy there.
Yep, great. All right, so yeah, that's I love your update. I don't really have much else to add. It's great that you're doing all that. Was there anything you want to bring up? Ask.
I think ask. Not much for now, probably because I didn't prepare myself to ask questions other than just sharing the news.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's great news, and thanks for sharing the win. But yeah, you've had your head down. So
last couple of weeks was just flat out, just trying to get these things done. That's why I even missed last call and probably the one before as well. I'm not sure if I missed one or two, but that was pretty much just working on these things and just managing the team. And we got Zyflow implemented as well. So that's
you did. Oh, great. Yeah, you have been busy.
We signed up. We've been pretty busy. It has been pretty crazy, but which is a good thing. We are glad that things are busy, and we are trying to restructure the company. We have some projects going. It's not that flat out on the production side, but we are implementing a lot of things into the process so we can just service the clients better remotely and trying to elevate our services, basically. So Zyflow is a great addition to the process. It took a while and a lot of phone calls with them to figure out how to best use their system, how to retrofit their system into our processes without adding a lot of admin to our clients or email notifications and all this kind of stuff, and use the 3 levels of accounts that they have at its best, Yeah. So,
but you're happy?
Yeah, pretty happy. Yeah, we will implement. We have it all in place, and we will start to use probably next week with one of the clients as a guinea pig to see. Not a guinea pig, we know we have tested a lot, but just to see how it goes.
Great. Well, that's awesome, man. Good luck for next year and all the new projects. Hopefully that all comes to fruition.
Thanks. Yeah. Fingers crossed we all go well and things keep going the right direction.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm going to move on to, here's Keith. All right. I think the time's made. Hey, Keith. Oh. That's hilarious. I guess you're busy painting here. So Amy, Maru, Maria, Keith, I guess the time zone thing was a little difficult, but what you missed in the beginning was hopefully next week or the week after, we'll have a session on how to get clients, like a group session. That was kind of pretty much what everyone voted for at least once, was the how to get clients topic. So we're going to talk about how each of us get clients and marketing strategies we use, and maybe some painting tips as well. So that would be, do you think next week or the week after? I guess it doesn't matter. Let me just check my calendar now. I guess we'll just do it next week. Cool. What else? Amy, Maria, Bob. There is a new member in Group 1, Olivia. She's a designer and turning into a strategist. And yeah, she's kind of in between Group 1 and Group 2, but I'm just trialing around in Group 1 for now because she has some similar traits. But yeah, you'll see her around on Slack. So we're going to jump into Antonio, who was next.
Hello. So today, I just wanted to finish a little bit about Daniel's course. I was on a few weeks ago. I was on a live where a Portuguese guy that has like 10 years experience launching courses. It's all he does. He only launches courses for almost everything. He learns stuff and then he creates a course for that and then he sells it. It's always for the end users. However, he has a few best sellers. And one of the things he shared was that he was always increasing his price of the course. One course that he created 5 or 6 years ago, if I remember correctly, he's selling it at almost 10 times the price he sold it at that initial time. So I think, and obviously we are talking about a very, very different market. He markets especially to Brazil and to Portugal. And it markets to the end users, and it's like low qualification. It's people without a high degree of education. But in any case, I think you can apply exactly the same thing as we apply to our services. You sell at one price today and you sell at a different price tomorrow. Even went as far as saying that even when he gives a discount, sometimes you have a few people complaining that they booked the course a few days ago or a few weeks ago at an higher price. When that happens, if it was a short amount of time, I mean, if they booked the course, I think you got the idea. A short amount of time ago, he refounds the difference, but otherwise he just explains that it was a promotion, it's the way it is, and it keeps going. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, there's I guess there's different strategies of how you do that, because I know Stephen from BMS, he's going to increase it eventually to 997. So it's just over time it does increase. In the flip of that, the Future also has it discounted when they first launched, and then they put it up to the regular price after a set amount of time. So just a lot of different strategies. I know you're probably more confused now, Dan. But yeah, anyway, Antonio, keep going.
Yeah, well, news. I finally hired a designer to, and my wife is already locked in. We finally hired a designer to create a logo for the well, it's for the strategy I shared with Luan. Mm-hmm. We did the stylescapes. I've done the concept. we approve them with the client, the color palette, more the typography style. And now I hired someone to do it. I already discussed this with Adele. I had mixed feelings about that. It's really hard to let go, and especially when we are talking about the logo. I'm not hiring him to design anything other than the logo, just the logo and maybe the business cards and the stationery. Um, and everything after that, I will tweak myself, at least this time, one step at a time. So, yeah, that's a big new
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, congratulations. That's exciting. Is it a full-time employee or like contracting set amount or
No, it's just for this project.
just for the project? Okay.
Yeah. However, if things go well, we obviously will keep him. We found him. We found him a few months ago asking for an internship with us. So we contacted him if he wanted to do a one-off freelance job. He said yes. So let's. I even tried Fiverr and Upwork, but it's it's too hard to hire from there, to be honest. At
Why?
least I think it's a bigger leap of trust than with someone that I don't know him anyway, but at least I already spoke with him. I can trust he will deliver, even if he doesn't deliver the work I want. I I know we will try to do it. And on Fiverr and Upwork, I either had to pay a lot, which I don't have right now. I don't have the budget to pay like 500 euros to for this project, or I need to go with some lower quality. So you get what you pay for. So to pay a little bit more, or I prefer to go with someone that at least I had the first interaction with.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the first step in hiring. So way to go.
Good, honey.
And I realized, I think I already talked about that here, but I haven't done anything about that. So that's on me. But I really need to improve the way I'm selling or I'm talking about strategy, because I even today we had a call with a potential client. I think it went well in the end. I mean, I can always turn things around, and that's a good thing. But I feel that we were talking for like almost an hour, and I could have done it a lot quicker if I wasn't overcomplicating things. I feel that I'm
What?
not.
Let me ask you this: like, what made you feel like it was overcomplicating? Was it you asking questions, or them talking, like you not asking the right questions, or you talking too much, or like, what do you think it was?
Well, in this time, and I don't think I have talked too much, and I've listened to the client. The problem was when he asks about the process, about what they will get from that, because when the client asks me specifically for some like a brand, a logo or a website, when they ask for something very specific and we turn the conversation around strategy, I feel that I always need to explain to them a little bit about the process, where we are going to start, why we are going to start from a place that they have already been through, because sometimes they don't say it directly, but they say that I have already done that job, I already researched, I already came to the conclusion that I need this. Then I feel the needs and that might be a problem, to explain to them why we need to go back and what they will get from that, and what will be the advantages of following this process. However, then the clients start, well, not always, but sometimes they start to ask more specific questions, which I either need to avoid, or when I start answering them, I start to complicate things like a lot.
Yeah, I hear you. So they're just trying to get more information out I guess, what they're getting into, and it makes you just keep explaining, which you could yapper on all day about, to be honest. But it's, I guess, getting to the point of their goals and coming back to what they're trying to achieve. So based on what I'm hearing there, it sounds like if you spent more time talking about their goals and really defining that in the beginning, you could have come back to it and said, let's just cut to the chase, and like, this is what you're trying to achieve, right? And then you can get to the point, versus like, this is our process, this is what we're going to do for you. But instead of about talking about the process, you talk about the results. Like, we're going to help you achieve these goals, and that way you can skip all that.
I do that.
Yeah,
I do that, and that definitely helps. I don't feel this is a sales problem, to be honest, because when it comes to this phase, I almost have the sale. I mean, I'm not selling anything else, and they are already interested. If we get to this stage, I'm trying to find the right words or a good example, but like explaining to them what is inbound marketing or outbound marketing. I just lose myself and start using those kind of terms, and then they start to ask questions and they don't understand anything, and it's a mess, and I need to reset the conversation and start over.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the main challenge for you in this scenario?
The main challenge is to communicate the value of what we do and how we do it, because I can talk about the results. And in this specific case today, I asked him about their goals. I even made some math with them, and they were interested in that part. However, if we just stick to that, they still sometimes ask questions, and I don't really know. I mean, I know how to answer them. I just don't know how to answer them in a way they do understand.
Okay. So this thing you said initially was you're not sure how to communicate the value of what you do.
Yeah, in short, yes.
Okay. So how would you go about doing that? How would you communicate the value of what you do?
I'm not sure how to answer that question now. I think I need to do a communication framework for myself, to be honest. And I think I need to work on my sales pitch, because so far it's been quite easy, quite technical, quite direct, and now I'm feeling I'm not using the right language to talk to them. Okay. Which is ironic, to be honest.
Okay, so what I've got from that is that the challenge is that you're having trouble communicating the value what you do and what you do as a process in a simple way that the client can understand.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. Yes.
All right. So that's what you'd have to work on. So figuring out how to communicate your value without going off on different tangents and in a way that the client can understand. So let me ask you this: how, based on that kind of summary, how would you go about discussing with the client your value now in a simple way?
How would I go about discussing with the client?
Yes.
Right now?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I mean, that's the whole issue.
Yeah.
I
So
was just checking what one.
you're going to have this problem for the rest of your career. All of us have to go through this. We have to educate our clients, and it's never going to end. Even Marty Neumeier has to do it with his big boy clients. That's how it is. We know brand, we know design, we know our process. So it's our job to show them the value of it and how important it is. So we have to educate, and that's the process of how we sell is education, showing them the value of brand and design. And that's why I initially said to talk about their goals, because if they come to you looking for a logo, how are you going to achieve those goals with a new logo? And you can ask them questions like that. You ask them. You don't tell them. You do the talking. You do the asking, and they do the talking. Because then they'll start to realize, like, how is that going to equate? Like, you want to earn X amount, but you're just going to change a logo, and they'll start to connect the dots themselves. It's the same thing with coaching. When you're talking to people and you get other people to answer the question, they form the dots versus you telling them how. That's why I'm asking you, like, how would you go about it? Because if you ask your clients, they'll start try to figure it out as well. Then they'll realize, okay, well, that's not going to work. So what are we going to do about it? So that's kind of like the thinking behind it. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm feeling that I need to start talking less about my process and just do that. Maybe just ask the questions and show them. Well, the thing is, if I don't talk about my process, how can I show them I can have the solution? But that will be a different thing. But I understand what you are saying, and yeah.
So, like, often we get held up in our process, and everyone's going to have their own like proprietary process and all that. But what clients care about is results in the end of the day. And yes, you can show them how you're going to get them from A to B, but it doesn't have to be as detailed as you may get into. I'm just trying to think of a metaphor, but you get what I'm saying.
I do. Yes, I do. Just to clarify one thing, I was reading the chat, and I'm not having trouble. I'm not having trouble making the sale. I'm not having trouble with that part, to be honest. Well, actually, it impacts on that, but I know that I need to ask about the goals. I need to show them some part of the math. I know I need to show them the cost of not doing something, of not working with me, or not following this process. I know that, and I do that. It's just the way I do it. I feel it's complicating the conversation. Like Luan said, it goes a little bit weird sometimes, and then I need to reset at least that part. So it's not about what I need to do; it's about the how I should speak. And I'm not sure if I was clear now, but I believe that my next step will be to write a script myself and to define a few phrases or paragraphs. So
Now that you're talking about that the BMS does have the structure of how to talk about it a little bit, so you could go into that. I know every client is different and they're going to ask different questions, for sure. But yeah, figuring out your process and you did. Yeah, you did. Okay.
I followed that, and I actually based my current script on the BMS script. However, the BMS script is good if the client is a dummy and doesn't speak back or doesn't ask questions, because after that moment, the script goes to rail. But to be honest, that's the problem.
It's just a guide. Yeah, it's just a guide.
So. But yeah, just wanted to share that and have this little brainstorm with you. So
yeah, totally. I had a similar conversation last week. So So I had some good wins this week. I had 3 workshop clients, like brand intensive workshop clients working in. And this person one of them came to me looking for a logo for like a park and recreation district. And they were designing the logo themselves in like a logo template. And now we've got the conversation up to like a 20K project for a website refresh strategy, brand identity, because of selling through the idea of what their goals were. So they were a park, right? So they wanted more visitors once COVID stopped. So we're like, how are you going to achieve this? And that just opened the discussion to, I guess, the whole strategy, identity, website, and goals. And the whole conversation got flipped once they saw the light. But the problem is that they are a government body, so you have to talk to this person, and then they talk to a board, and then another board. So it's like you have to have all these documents to sell through each person. It's just like one of those tiered arrangements. So like once you educate one person, you have to go educate the next group, and it's just like a layered effect. And it's selling. It's like it's sales, and this is what we have to do. I mentioned before, education is forever what we're going to have to do, and that's how you sell. So that was really my point there. And the more you know about all of this stuff, the better you can talk about it. And then the more experience you have, the easier it is to cut through the bullshit, really, and just talk about their goals. So it's not an easy task. It's not.
No, definitely not.
So.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Just one more quick thing. I created I created a fake assistant email for our studio, so we technically have a third person working with us. I've done that, and maybe this will be Mike is looking a lot, and Maria too. I'm not sure if you've done the same or not, but for those more naggy clients that ask for a lot of small things, and I don't want to do that, especially the old clients, and I don't want to do this small work, or at least I don't want them to know that I'm doing it. So now I have someone that replies. It's still me or my wife, but someone that replies to them when I cannot answer the phone, or when I'm busy on a meeting or something. It was a way I found to at least have my phone a little bit more calm. Let's see how it goes or not.
I'll just forward this email to my assistant. Ding, new email.
I actually do that.
Yeah.
I actually do that.
That's awesome. Okay.
I love it, Antonio. I'm gonna have to copy that. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, that's genius.
That's good.
Well, I hope it inspires you.
All right. Well, we better move on, Antonio. Yeah. I guess working on how, I guess, talking about the value and the structure of how you, I guess, tailor your conversations is what to work on. I know it's a challenge, and it's only through experience, and each experience you have, the better you get at it. So there's no cheat sheet here. It's just learning as you go, the more you talk. So
yeah, I guess so. But this was very useful, and for what I saw, Mike is going through a similar process. So definitely we need to catch up, and maybe we can come up with the golden formula.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And I also found that because I had to sell up to the next tier of like directors, they also ask for like something tangible, like rather than a conversation, they're like, oh, can you send through like what the next stage is? And like I find myself having to put something together for that next tier. So yeah, it's every client is different, and they have different processes on their end as well. So anyway, yeah, you can always blame that person. So that's awesome. All right, we'll move on, Antonio. Thank you. So Adele was next into the room, I believe. So we'll jump into Adele.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
It's been a quieter week this week. took delivery on a new sofa for my office, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Which, because I'm always kind of in two minds of saying, do I really need the office? Do I really want the office? And like, oh, I could just stay at home. But then like made the commitment, because I share the office with someone else and sometimes we collaborate, but it's really nice to have someone around all the time who we can just bounce ideas off. And we complement each other as well. So sometimes we do projects together. So yeah, kind of that felt like a bit of a commitment.
Yeah. How often do you work in your office versus home?
Every day.
Oh, you do go to the office?
Yeah, I go to the office every day, unless we're in lockdown or I can't, or if for any reason I need to stay at home. But yeah, I'd rather go to the office because then I'm away from home and it's kind of keeping it all there. And it's separate, you know. I mean, like you have, that's away from your house, isn't it? So you kind of close the door on it a bit more.
Yeah, totally.
I used to work from home all the time, but it's a bit lonely as well, I found. So
that's a good thing.
It is sometimes. Actually, this week it's half term here, so the kids are off school. So the lady I share with, she's been off all week. So the first 2 days it was like, yeah, I'm on my own in the office. It's absolutely fantastic. And then like today I'm like, okay, I'm a bit bored now. I need someone to talk to. So it's definitely a bonus. And I felt that was a good commitment to say, let's get a sofa. We want to make it comfortable so that, you know, I might just move in there. Who knows? Get away from my family.
Yep.
So yeah, this week, moving on from what I was saying last week when I was talking about maybe doing like a different scale of hours for this one client of mine who I was finding was needing kind of more either strategic or creative director work alongside the other retainer hours that I was doing. There was kind of a develop. I didn't create anything in particular, but I had it in mind. Yeah, I really need to do this. But then I spoke to her assistant, and she was saying there was one. She wants to update all her podcast graphics, and I'd kind of started to do it. But everything like the day-to-day had just kind of taken over it, and it kind of got parked on the back burner because it wasn't something that was urgent, and I was using all my hours for her just doing all the other stuff that she needed doing more urgently. So it kind of got parked a little bit. We did do some options and she kind of semi-approved one of them and said, yeah, okay, let's go with this. But I wasn't really happy with it because I didn't feel that I'd spent enough time on it.
Do you mean, are you referring to the hours? Like, are you referring to your price, like how much you're quoting or how much time you're spending? Is that what you're referring to?
Time, time. No, I hadn't been able to spend enough time because we have a limited amount of time per hours. Like if I'm going over, and I have been going over, she usually just kind of pays me, but I have to let her know so she can make a decision whether she wants me to just stop. She's never said stop. Or if, you know, we just roll them over or take from next month or whatever. But she's always got stuff, so I'm never really able to take from next month. But stuff like that, which is kind of more kind of, for me, like higher level than some of the other stuff that I do for her, should be at a different price range, I think. And that was what we decided last week when we talked. We said, yeah, let's do like one where I can offer her by say 5 hours of creative direction.
But you haven't presented that just yet. That's what you're saying.
I haven't presented that, but then it became all a little bit more urgent because she's redoing her website and she had some photos done last year with an agency in Portugal actually, and they are going to go ahead and do the website. So her assistant said today, hold back on the podcast because when they do the website, they're going to have a look at the podcast as well. And I'm kind of like, that should have been me, you know, I'm supposed to be doing that. And then I realized, oh, actually, that's my fault because I haven't put myself forward to be able to do that. And somebody else is offering it. So she's kind of taken it. So I think it feels now that it's important for me to just kind of put that on the table and say, this is available to you and I can do it. And give her the option. And then, you know, even if she does decide to go down the route with them, and I'd kind of like to be included in those meetings where all that is happening, because I feel in some ways, like, you know, we redid the brand. So she's gonna be handing over the new stuff that we've done with the brand. Again, in the scope, there wasn't enough time to do an extensive brand guidelines. So what she's ended up with is a pretty good brand style sheet. You know, there's plenty of stuff on there and it does it really good. But I don't want to be in a position where this agency is coming along and saying, why have you just got this style sheet? You need extensive brand guidelines. And do you know what I mean? It just feels kind of that if I'm not careful, I might get left out in the cold there, and somebody who is not necessarily any more experienced or better at what they do than I am is in a position, because of their positioning, to be able to come in and say, we'll take over all of that.
Yeah, I was a good way to handle that is to ask them the questions about their guide, like their brand, if they feel things are consistent and they feel like everything is cohesive, and just to get the, I guess, feeling for their brand. Like if you're comparing things, like, do you think these work well together? They look like the same brand. A clever ask is like, if we took the logo away, do you think this still feels like us? Because then they start answering the questions, and then they're like, oh, then you can come up with your solution. Like, okay, well, well, we can fix this. We just need to come up with a more extensive brand guidelines, so we have something to refer back to. So they're kind of setting up the problem for you, and then you come in with the solution, versus you like coming in like hot saying you need to do this. It's just a different different way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Bob Ross asked, did you ask why they didn't come to you for the website?
I don't do web. And again, I guess I've kind of got this with well, it's interesting actually, because this client, when she first came to me, it was like for graphics, but because she's kind of been on my journey with me, and I've always told her, you know, this is how I'm up leveling at the moment, and I'm doing this training, and I'm doing strategy now. She came to me and said, how are you getting on with your strategy? Because I need some help. I want you to look at my brand for me. And so I did that. So she's aware of the journey that I'm on and what I'm doing, and she's been fully supportive. But I think I still need, with this particular client, to make that switch where I'm more of a partner than just the person who does her graphics.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah, so positioning is how your relationship is structured. Bob Ross also said that you should consider partners versus losing out on the whole thing. So like even this group, there's a few people that do web design, but considering having partners, like whether it's web design or any other project, it's important to consider, like, that could be a good chunk. Like even if you're getting like a 10% referral fee for like a 10K project, that's like a good chunk just for the referral, right? So it's like just think about it, because this could be money left on the table.
Yeah, I think the question here is more that these people, they did her photography for her last year, and she was really happy. And I know she talked to me about what are you laughing at?
Bob says I only do acrylic on canvas.
Okay, Picasso. Yeah, they would have I knew she was looking for web, and yeah, I shot myself in the foot when she asked me when I was doing the strategy for her, do you do web? And I said, well, I can kind of like design pages for you, but I'd have to put you in touch with someone else to do a whole kind of new web website for you, because she said, well, do you know how to create a website that sells, essentially? And I spoke to her about StoryBrand. I asked her if she was familiar with that process, and she was. And I said, well, we can find someone who can do that for you. So I guess it was just kind of like opportunity as well. But I do feel that there is an issue with positioning there. Not that she thinks I'm not capable of doing things, more so that she's kind of got these people who were there and were putting themselves forward, whereas I'm not always very good at putting myself forward for things.
Okay, so Maru had a good point, which you kind of just touched on in terms of positioning, like to be the brand director or creative director. So that itself can you can charge higher fees for being the director, and then you have other people who she has, it sounds like, to do the work for you. So just there's a few options here. Definitely. Daniel says, if you feel brave, you can subcontract and consult as a brand director or creative director. And that's how he's worked over the few years for web projects. Because web projects can be notoriously long, and especially when it comes to content and things like that. So if you just have a backseat, it's just something to think about as you're growing, because these days everyone is pretty much going to need a website or a refresh when they do a brand. So it just it's that next add-on service, right? And it's you're starting to see signs of it now. So it's just something to think about.
Yeah. Well, Antonio and I have had the conversation about that, and there was one time when a client asked me to quote for a website. So Antonio and I worked together on a quote for that. And she decided not to go ahead in the end. But I definitely would, if I need to kind of think of it as an opportunity, don't I, rather than just saying I don't want to hassle, kind of.
Yeah, you're just taking a back seat. You're not going to be doing the work. It's you'll handle, like, the brand, you've come up with the guidelines and you know it inside out, and they trust you, as Maria's saying, and you're going to take the pressure off them. So that's kind of what the role of you is. You're helping them guide them through the process, more or less. So it's really nice to see this, because it's showing your growth. You're kind of moving up the rungs of the ladder, and you're becoming more into this strategy role versus the design role. So design and direction, that's where you're going. So sorry, strategy and direction. Yeah. Well, it doesn't mean less design. It's one of those things. If that's your passion, you do less design. That's
No, I want to do less design. I want to do less design and more strategy, definitely, going forward. Yeah, I do. Like, sometimes I even get to the point now where I'm doing stuff and thinking, I shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff anymore. I don't want to be doing this kind of stuff anymore. So I feel, not that I'm like above it or anything, but just that I think I've got more to offer.
Yeah, totally. And that's the natural journey, I think. The more you learn, the more you can offer. And I was just, I think I shared on Instagram this quote from Pablo Stanley about the more you grow as a designer, the less you move pixels around. It's just so true.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so based on this situation and what we've talked about so far, how are you going to proceed with her? What are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking that I'll be sending my invoice at the end of the month, and because it's kind of come up about the amount of hours, and we've kind of discussed, and I've spoken to her assistant about a possible kind of brand brand director, just like Mary was saying. I've spoken to her about the possibility of that, and she liked the idea. We have a big team meeting coming up in January, and she said that would be a good time to kind of talk about that kind of thing when we all get together. But I think it would be good for me to send a proposal when I send my invoice this month, because this is what's come up with the extra hours, and say, look, okay, we have our hours. There are two possible scenarios that we can do going forward. A would be me setting aside, say, 5 hours a month to start with for creative direction, which would take on the bigger projects that are getting, or, you know, the more creative project side of things, like, say, for example, the podcast and things like that are getting pushed aside for the more day-to-day stuff. Or then there would be an alternative of upping the hours that I'm doing to, you know, 20 hours, and this would be the cost for each of them. But obviously I wanted to go for the other, you know, the first option, which is, say, 5 hours a month. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, and just as you're thinking, speaking, like it sounds like it could be like a brand audit, like to figure out what is most important based on her goals as well. To take a step back before just getting into the weeds and doing all this work, is to just take a step back. If it's, especially as you're going into this like brand director role, to take a step back and figure out like what's important, what are you trying to do, why are you doing this, and just really get to the why. And just have a conversation about like why, what are you trying to do this for, what's the purpose, like you'll start to realize what the true intentions are, and that way you can have a better understanding. Yeah. And that way then you can go in with a better I guess strategy in terms of your hours and what you're going to be doing for them to actually hit those goals as well.
Yeah, I think the problem with, like, you know, she's like a serial entrepreneur, multi-passionate. Like her latest thing, she devised this program that was going for 21 days. So it was a 3-week program, and it involved kind of audios, then worksheets with exercises and things like that. She thought that up in the space of about 5 days, and the team put it all together, and she sold it within, you know, 2 weeks. And then I think the price point, it was a low price point. I think it was about £300. So it's like an entry level thing for her, but it's all kind of planned in that it's leading up to her launch that's going to be coming in November for her very high price ticket services. So, but she, like, from ideation to implementation to kind of finishing the course all took place in about, I'd say, 5 weeks, and like they're finishing up now. So things kind of move very, very quickly with her, and she doesn't always tell us about what she's got planned. So that's kind of like the main issue with her, that things move really fast and everybody's kind of running behind her to keep up. There's not, I suppose in her head then there is, she's thinking, you know, next year she's already announced that she wants to be making 5 million next year. This year she's done 1.5 million. So, and that's her goal. So in her head she's working on, how am I going to do this, how am I going to do this, and then suddenly something will pop into her head and like she'll implement it, done, next onto the next thing. So it's really hard to really get down to the nitty gritty of what have you got planned and why are you doing it. So why are you doing it? She's doing it because she wants to make 5 million.
Why is it hard? Why is it hard?
I guess because of her availability as well. You know, when she's available to kind of sit down and ask these things.
What
but I think she would probably
what could you do to make her available to sit down and talk about these things?
I mean, I have her on Boxer, so, you know, I can just message her on Boxer, and she always messages back. She never just kind of ignores a thing. So I could say, what do you think about this on a Boxer? And she would answer, or she would have her assistant answer me, but she would probably answer me directly. She usually does.
Yeah, so there's the opportunity there. Like, you have contact with her, so at least you have that communication channel. So it may be difficult, but it's worth trying to have that conversation, because that's going to give you more leverage.
Yeah. I mean, she'll probably appreciate him, and anything that's going to be off her table is going to be a bonus for her, isn't it? I mean, at the moment she approves every single piece of artwork, and that's a
Yeah.
lot
So
for someone
Maru
who's
is said is what you need to talk to in her return on investment perspective. So she's a busy person, it sounds like. So taking the work off her, you can start to really think about her goals and improve on those goals. Let's say let's double let's get 10 million. Like, how are we going to do that? Let's think big. That'll get her attention.
Oh God, yeah. If
Yeah.
anyone's thinking big, it's her. Jesus.
Exactly. So there's so many ins. Just you have to figure out what's important for her.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Cool. We've had some good chats so far. Some pretty in-depth ones. It's good. All right. We'll jump into Amy.
Cool. Hey guys.
Hello.
So
Welcome
I know I
back.
haven't been here in like 3
Welcome
weeks.
back. Yes.
Sorry.
I said welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. So things are picking up a little bit. So I went to a business conference last weekend, and I kind of enjoyed it. I had really bad anxiety and missed most of the conference. So it was.
What type of business conference was it?
So the Facebook group that I'm a part of, where all my clients are from, this is the conference. Like, the people who created the Facebook group put on a conference every year. So this is a big deal. So it was really not ideal that I missed most of it, but life happens. So anyway, so I'm back from that. I'm just kind of recovering from, some, the anxiety and some physical issues that arose from that as well. So it's been like a slow start to the week, but it was good to go. And at least it's always a good conversation piece to tell people, to show that I'm actually active in the community, be like, oh yeah, I've been for 2 years now, it's so great. And so people know I exist and I'm active, and I really value the community. But yeah, after a pretty slow fall, things are picking back up a little bit. I have one branding client signed. We're doing our strategy tomorrow. So that's actually for a mentor of mine from Disney. He's doing a side hustle in addition to his job at Disney. So that's a lot of fun. And we were really close when I worked there. So that'll be a lot of fun to work on that, and then even bring Michael in because he needs some brand photography. So my husband's doing a lot of photography on the side. So I'm like, well, we can do your brand photography because my husband does that, and it'll be on brand, and I'll just creative direct. So I think it's a pretty small project. He had a pretty small budget, but we made something work for reduced scope for what he's looking for. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then I have another one. Very likely it's not signed, not formalized yet, but another personal connection, and she's just ready to get started. So I think that'll be pretty likely coming up. Again, another one where she'll probably have a relatively smaller budget, but definitely doable. So I think we'll be able to make that work too. And then a couple other random things from my big contract client that I just get stuff to and from. So things are picking back up. Should be pretty busy as the year ends, because everybody's like, oh crap, I want a new brand by January.
Yeah,
This one today was like, I want to launch on December 1st, and I'm like, ah. So I figured out what was standing in the way, why she needed to launch December 1st. And it turns out she just needs to rename her business and get the LLC. And I was like, well, let's do that. And then we'll do the brand as we can. So removing that roadblock and giving her realistic expectations on what timeline will look like. So yeah, so and then I have an intern starting in after Thanksgiving. So she's gonna do 50 hours with me over the course of 3 weeks in December, which will be really great because my junior designer is getting married. So I told her just to take it easy, don't work for me for 3 weeks, and I've got someone else who can pick up as well. So I think that's really great timing. We're now, entering the holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I now have somebody who's, going to come in and help pick up the slack and learn a lot and help take on some of that extra work. So yeah, I think it'll be good. So that's kind of what's going on, just kind of hitting balls as they, get pitched at me. So
yeah, it's the classic roller coaster ride there. It sounds like.
I know.
Really.
Yeah.
Luan did say that he wanted to say that it was great for you to open up about that on Instagram.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and it's true. Like it's been a tough year for many people, and I've noticed it as well, just from people's stories and posts and things like that. So it's good that people can talk about it, because that does help it as well, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Lon. Appreciate that.
And yeah, so that's awesome. So you've had the conference, you're working on new clients, you have your junior designer having a break, and you've been working on your business. So it's you had that little trough, and you're working on your business, and now you're starting to see it pick up again, which is great. So it's such a it's a true roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely lots of ups and downs. But I think I'm on track with my financial goals for Q4. So I can't remember them off. It's been weeks, and I'm still like getting into this. It still feels like the beginning of the week for me now, even though it's, end of day Wednesday. But yeah, so I think based on what I'd said though, I'd had relatively low expectations for Q4 because it typically is pretty quiet. So, and while most of these projects are lower budget, I think I should hit my track, which will be really great to have that happen. So I have not yet set goals for 2021. I really just need to get away, for a weekend to get some space and do that. I think I need to do that with a clear head. So that's something that that we're planning on doing in November, December, is just going away to the beach for 2 or 3 days and doing some goal planning for personal as well as professional. So
yeah, lovely. And yeah, it's amazing what a nice break can do. It really does clear your head, and you come back refreshed. It's so much value in that. There was something else you said I was going to ask, but now went on vacation mode. It escaped me. I was going to say something else. Okay. Oh no, you said that it's quieter this time of year. So I'm curious, are you comparing against I guess prior years, or what's your okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but what you were doing last year at this time, is it the same what you're doing this year?
In terms of like how much work or type of work?
Marketing and where you are at with your business.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I didn't even have an Instagram. I think I started it in December last year.
Yeah. So that's the thing, like you're comparing last year's quietness to this year. So it's not necessarily going to be like that this year. That's the thing. Yeah. So I've, in the 10 plus years of doing this, I've never found a pattern. Like it's sometimes, I don't know what it is, but it just depends, right? You could get slammed on around Christmas or January, but then the next year you have nothing. So there's no patterns. It's the one thing the pattern is that there is no pattern.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on that because it's really a myth when it comes to ups and downs. Okay, so was there anything you wanted to bring up with the group or chat about in particular?
Yeah, so I just want to ask about discovery calls with potential clients where they're a little bit more black and white, get it done kind of people. So typically most of the clients I've been working with up to this point have been women entrepreneurs who are a little bit more on the creative side like me. And so I'm able to ask them questions like, what would your business being a success, what would that mean for you in your personal life? What would that allow you to do, etc.? We can get a little bit more emotional, a little bit more personal in those calls. It comes pretty easily. And maybe it's because I've only had 2 sales calls well, I guess I've had quite a few, but I feel like I'm a little bit rusty on my discovery calls. And so I had the one this morning with, that's the second brand project, the personal connection, that I think is pretty likely to happen. I don't see any roadblocks for us, but she's a very like black and white, get it done kind of person. She's a numbers person, which I'm like, oh, the horror, because I'm not a numbers person. And so she came to me saying, I need a brand and a logo and a website. So so the call went well. It wasn't my best call, but I think it went perfectly fine. It got the job done. So we're moving it to the proposal stage. So that's great. But I feel like I could have done better. I could have dug deeper with her. But, asking questions like, what would this project being a success look like for you? And their answer is launching and seeing clients and seeing traffic, essentially, like getting this out the door. When someone is pretty black and white and like, I already know I need a logo, I need a brand. So we did talk about brand strategy and the importance of that with values and expanding and hiring a team. So I was able to talk about the importance of strategy to those goals that she has. And I asked a little bit about her goals, but again, she was just pretty black and white. Like, okay, great, we're gonna figure out my business name first. After we do brand strategy, then we'll do a logo, and then the brand, and then we'll do the website afterwards. And so she's just very like chop chop chop. So how? And I think it's because I'm a very emotional person, so I love asking questions like, what would this mean to you? What would this allow you to do? And like your big goals and dreams, but with someone like that, it just feels like I just feel like she's gonna think I'm emotional and wishy-washy or this or that if I just start digging down. For her, it really may just be like, I just need to get this business off the ground. Let's go.
What's the question that you're getting at here, just to clarify?
Yeah, sorry, I was literally just about to get to that. So how do you go about getting deeper on those sales calls with someone who's very like business minded, black and white, etc., kind of like,
So can you just clarify what you mean by black and white? Because you keep saying that I guess they just want to launch, but like when you're asking them why, like why do you want to, like I'm just kind of, I guess I always go back to the start, like the reason why they're launching, because yes, they want to launch, right? But figuring out why they want to launch and what their true goals are over the next 3 to 5, 10 years, like that's key. Because there's a reason why they're launching. So I'm not sure if you have this, but like when you have a sales call, I always have a question sheet up where it's like I go through it, and it's just kind of a cheat sheet, and you don't have to ask all of them, but you can ask the big questions just to see if it's the right client for you. Amy said, Dan said, reflect your tone of voice, be candid with them. That I think that's important. Just mirroring the situation is important. But I always come back to the beginning. Like if they keep going black and white, like I just want a logo, I want a website, like you can just say, let's just step back. I know we want a website. I know you want a logo. Let's just bring this back. Let's bring it back and just clarify with them. We want to start at the start. We want to clarify goals, like really nail in on the goals, and ask them, like, get to the nitty gritty. Don't be afraid to ask about financials. Because if they are a black and white person that cares about it as a numbers person, they know these numbers. You need to tap into that information. Because the more information you have about the reasons and what they're trying to achieve, the better leverage you have throughout the whole experience. Spend a lot of time asking questions around this area.
Okay, great. I like
and if they're not being direct and they're like being wishy-washy, just ask them very to the point. Like you have to obviously judge the character, but if they are being around the subject, like be direct.
Yeah, I think Luan and Maru and Daniel had really great comments. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends on the client. Like you said, there's a numbers person, so I'm just presuming that they're interested in X numbers, like achieving X amount. But maybe they're about connection and a bigger purpose and making an impact. So then you talk in their language. So you have to mirror who these people are. Return on investment. Yeah. A handy phrase I like to do is to use is we're not talking about cost here. We're talking about value. And the purpose of working with me is to get a return on your investment. And that's why I'm here. I want you to get a return on investment. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So ROI is a big one for sure.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So the cost and value thing is very
Mhm.
it's a good strategy.
Yeah, ROI for sure. Yeah. Thanks. That helps kind of clarify a few things. Yeah,
Okay.
and I definitely think I need to add more of those kinds of questions on my discovery call sheet, like my question sheet. I have one too. I always have pulled up, and I think I need to make it. I think I need to revise it a little bit because it is cut out for a very specific type of client. Somebody who maybe wants a brand but not sure why they want one. So I've struggled with it in my last couple calls where I've had someone who's like, I need a brand, so let's get this going. And I'm like, okay, how do I handle this kind of conversation? So it's been fine, but there's definitely a lot better I could be doing in those types of situations. So, and I think it's just practice too. I've kind of fallen off the horse a little bit with brand discovery calls. I've really only had these two, and then the last one I had was, gosh, like back in the summer. So, yeah.
So these are some of the questions that really, so in the chat, let's put some questions that have that can start to get to the why of, without saying why. It's like you're talking about goals,
awesome.
you're talking about how do you plan to reach it, and then they're like, oh, I don't know, a logo. They're like, no. So
Yeah.
it's like, and then you talk about the value it is to them, why they exist, and the biggest problems they're facing. So if you can start to talk about their problems, the reasons, and what they're trying to achieve, like that's the most leverage you'll get. So this is why you start with these conversations.
Actually, great. I just added that to my so I can type that out. All of your notes, Jacob. I just added that to my script so I can refine that later.
Yeah, and yeah, Christo has a few role play videos. Luan mentioned it's like sales processes.
It always just seems to go so easy for him, and maybe that's just because it's Christo. But I'm like,
he's a Jedi master.
I know. I'm like, wish my sales calls were that easy and seamless, and the client gave all the right answers. The client never said, "I don't know what this should cost."
Yeah,
you tell me what this should cost.
The thing is that we're classically trained as designers. We're not really trained in sales or psychology or negotiation, and these are all soft skills that you learn over time with experience. And you can learn these skills by reading books in different areas versus just design, you know. And you do have to learn these subtle things, and that's why sales is sales, because you negotiating, you're trying to communicate value. It's like psychology and how you talk about it and price things and proposals. Like they don't teach you this shit. And Chris has used all this background knowledge in teaching and all those like business skills and brought it together. And that's really why he's such a master at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole engine inside his head. Yeah. It's a lot of knowledge in there.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So what was most useful for you there, Amy?
I think especially you echoing like how learning sales, like it's something that designers aren't learning. I've actually learned a lot about my sales process from a good friend of mine who recruits realtors for a major realtor company. And so she's involved in sales a lot. And she's a little bit older, so she's had a lot of life experience and professional experience beyond that as well too. And same thing as you just said, I'm like, nobody teaches you this kind of thing. Like that I should pre-qualify my clients with like a questionnaire. I don't like nobody told me that. So you're absolutely right about that. And I think especially, especially if it's like a numbers kind of black and white, like cut and dry kind of person mirroring that and then really getting into the numbers. I definitely could have gotten more into the numbers today. And we also ran over time and I didn't want to keep her if she had something else later as well, which I know I can always ask. But anyway, we were just trying to move along in the conversation. So I could have asked like, okay, what are your financial goals? So I actually might go back and do that at some point so I can talk about ROI in the proposal. But yeah, I think I wrote out ROI on my notes here to remember that one. So
yeah, great, awesome, good,
yeah,
cool. Yeah. So Dan, never split the difference is a good one. I'm currently listening to Blinkist, which is like it's a service where it summarizes audiobooks into like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. So you can listen to a whole book in 5-10 minutes. So you can get the core principles from these books and little nuggets that can apply to your work if you don't have time to read full books. Blinkist. So it's spelled B-I. Let me just. I don't know the. There we go. I think you can get it free as well. Sorry, I'm just checking. Yeah, you get a 7-day free trial. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's about 65 a year. So, where were we at? So we're up to Amy, Antonio, Luan, Adele, Mike. So we'll jump into Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So I have some great news.
Awesome.
We're getting a nanny.
Nice, man.
I'm so excited. She starts on Monday. It's only going to be part-time, but it's going to give me the mornings up until lunch to work. So I'm super excited.
Good on you.
Awesome. That's like the major win, and I'm done. That's it.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll jump into Maria then.
But yeah, so I'm just excited. I'm going to get more time with that because honestly the phone's been ringing a lot recently. Just people are getting ready to start projects that they want to complete by the end of the year, and my wife just walked in today and she said, you never really slowed down like you said you would. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I've just been killing myself. So we
you had to you'd have to slow down if you're working from home and not I guess looking after the kids.
Yeah, I mean it was I don't know. I think I sacrificed things like sleep and weekends, and it was it was different.
But you have outsource. You have outsourcing.
Yeah, I did that, and that worked. There's like some projects that I was able to do that for, but like there's things now like I'm getting a lot more requests for brand strategy, right? So I've had yeah. I mean, I introduced it to a business coach who is in a networking group with me, and he loved the process, and now he's trying to sell it on to his clients. And so we've had a discussion with one of his clients last week. I'm going to pitch it to another client this Friday, and I'm sending pricing to a third client of his because I mentioned it and they inquired about it. They wanted to learn more as well. They don't necessarily want to sit through a pitch, but they want to know kind of what's involved. They have a little bit of an understanding of it. So that's looking like that could be a part of the business that can be generating more interest in the beginning of the end of this year and the beginning of the next.
Well, that was one of your goals, right? Earlier in the year. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it was, and COVID derailed it a little bit because I was having some good traction in the beginning of the year, and then some of those clients that wanted to slow things down and think things through kind of went into like reactive mode. We're just kind of reacting to the current environment. So it's nice to see that getting a little bit of traction again. And I'm going to get an opportunity, I think, to go through that process with one of my existing clients who, they're a retainer client. They do a bunch of work with me on a monthly basis, and they, I'm just putting together costs for them to finish 2020 on some extra projects. and then we're going to have a kickoff either in late December or early January to set off their roadmap for 2021. So we're just gonna the CEO is gonna fly into town with the VP of sales, and the three of us are just gonna sit down and just come up with everything that we're gonna do in 2021. So
Great.
It's been, I mean, there's a lot of it's a lot of people reaching out to me this past week just for different projects and things. So it's
a good problem to have.
Yeah. And I got someone, like I have an agency in town who refers to me hosting clients. And I love that because it's like the easiest money ever, right? I mean, I'm just hosting their site. They're doing the design work. They're doing the whatever. And I'm just hosting.
So you have you're going through a third party service, or you have like a server yourself?
I'm going through a third party.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I use Flywheel for hosting.
I'm curious, why wouldn't they just go straight to Flywheel?
I don't know.
I know this guy, Mike.
Yeah, he can host websites unlike anyone else. But it's like I think the second or third customer they refer to me, honestly. Okay. And I think they just don't want to deal with like the possibility of a site going down. And
yeah, fair enough.
So I don't mind dealing with that, and rarely happens. So, and then I have I got referred one prospect, which I'm a little conflicted on, and that's kind of what I wanted to bring up today. The business coach that that I mentioned earlier, he's the one who referred this client to me. It's a client of his, right? And this coach, he's a great referral partner for me, right? He refers me a lot of business. Works out sometimes it doesn't. But he's really good about that. And he got this client. It's a local client. It's a small web agency. And they're two partners who are moving from this being like their side hustle to trying to turn it into a full-time business, right? They already have some clients that they've been working on the past couple of years. They've been open for like 2 years or so. And the main owner, his background is in like coding development. And then he's got a partner who her background is in like HR. And they are bringing me in, they're like, they approach me because they want to partner potentially on some projects, but primarily they need help with their own business. So they need help to develop their branding. They need help, but although that's not on the table right now, what's on the table right now is they want help with content strategy. They want me to audit their website's design. And they want me to help them develop a structure for some content like case studies or brochures, marketing materials, things like that.
Great. Okay.
And I'm sitting here thinking, that they're pretty close to being as big of a competitor as they could be, right? Because they're local, they offer the same services I do. They're in my network, dealing with people who are referral partners of mine. But I'm trying my hardest not to go into this with the scarcity mindset, right? I'm thinking, there's room, like from the initial conversation that I have, there's a lot of room that I think I could help them just really, from a building an agency standpoint, just figure things out. They're stumbling on a lot of the blocks that you see the younger designers or younger agency owners hit. Figuring out things like pricing, right? They're not pricing themselves; they're pricing themselves hourly for everything. They don't know how to present their projects, right? And that's like, they wanted to know if they could contract me in to basically pitch to their clients.
Interesting.
For them, because they don't know how to sell, they don't know how to explain why something is important. And so
sounds like you're in a mentorship role.
Yeah, it does. But the thing is, I discuss it with the business coach, afterward that said, I think they need some. I think there's a lot that I could do from like a consultant or coach role with them. But he was he was a little bit, not necessarily standoffish, but that's a role that he's fulfilling now. Right. So he didn't necessarily want me to go into that because he said he's working with them to solve some of those things. Now, of course, he's solving them from a different perspective than I would, and from someone who's not necessarily involved in marketing or knows or has gone through that themselves. So, so I respected that and left that, there.
So how do you feel about going into it then?
I don't know. I'm trying to make up my mind if I want to go into it. I know a couple of things. I know that when it comes to partnering, they can't afford my services. They mentioned their hourly rates, and they mentioned what that they would need the hourly rate for someone who they contract with to be $40 an hour. And I just held my breath on the other side of the phone, just thinking, okay, we've been talking for half an hour, and it's clearly not going to work out.
Yep.
But I think there's a chance that I think when and they wanted me to do hourly for some of the for pitching in and talking to clients and all of that. So I think that's definitely not going to happen, at least not for that rate, right? I'll share with them what kind of the cost would be there, but I think there's they are looking for help with content strategy and for and that might be something that I'm comfortable with doing, but I still haven't made up my mind. I don't know if that's weird and I should just leave it alone, or I don't necessarily need the work right now.
So what do you think could come from it? Like what are the pros and cons of it?
I went into it thinking that there could be partnerships that are formed out of it, similarly to how the other agency feeds me, hosting clients. Maybe since they don't have a background in brand strategy or in branding, maybe I could play that role. But it looks like instead of looking for a partner, they're looking for a subcontractor, because they deal with subcontractors, similar way to what I do, right? And so I don't know how much room there would be for me to present my business as, to clients and go in and say, you're doing brand strategy with me, and then you're doing web development with them. So I don't know how much of a win there could be from that end.
It sounds like they may not have the experience to upsell your services yet. So
but I don't think so. I mean, they're trying to work a lot with like smaller local clients, and they don't understand the marketing part. They don't understand the marketing side. They don't understand the sales side of things. They don't know how to talk to clients. They don't understand like how to leverage things like landing pages or lead magnets.
So what do you think is the one key benefit, like the biggest benefit if you did go ahead with them?
Karma. I'm all for helping people. I'm all for sharing knowledge, and I don't.
Let me ask you this: if you say yes to this, what do you say no to?
That's a better question. Yeah. That's a good point, because I could be giving out on limited resources, limited time, right? And this is something that might demand my time, and so I'll be giving up other things.
Yeah, there's something to think about, because you don't know how much time it's going to take up for you. So it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, good point, Jacob. All right, man, you solved this for me. Perfect. Thank you. I'm done.
Good. Well, awesome with all your updates. Congrats again. And yeah, well, thanks. So we'll keep going, tracking on we'll go to Maru. So good to see you again, Maru.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to
hello.
see you guys.
Is it very cold over there? It looks very cozy.
It's a bit cold, and we don't put the heat, so it wakes up a little bit. But I think we're going to turn it up soon because it's a bit chilly. It's a bit late also.
Gotcha.
So I haven't got the best of luck this past 2 weeks. I was jumping, doing a silly thing, and I opened my knee and with 12 stitches, and I had to stay in bed for 3 days without walking.
Oh no.
And after 2 weeks, I found out that my wrist was also broken.
Your wrist is broken. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, so it's not like really broken. It has fragments of bone.
Fracture. Okay.
Yeah, and so, but the thing is that when this happened, every project started to come in out. So, for example, we just signed a new project with a Swiss client that is really interesting. It's a coaching courses online. And they're coming next week to Galicia from Switzerland to do a branding workshop. So I'm a bit stressed, even that I have done a few branding workshops, but I would love to see if someone can help me with that.
I saw you put in a question on. I saw you put in a question on Slack.
Yeah, Daniel already offered. Daniel, you're a son, like we say here in Spain.
What is that?
You're a sunshine. Sorry.
Got you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Really, thank you. And the other thing is that remember that big project that I was super happy and then postponed at the end. Now it's back again.
Okay.
And so I have the Swiss client. I have this big project that they want to have everything done by December. Of course, the Swiss clients also want that to be done by December. And my business coach, is a really, really important coach for me because he mentors me for 3 years and he changed my career. He asked me to do a logo design for him. So he has a process that he has taught me that is 70 sketches, different sketches. So I'm in that process now, but it has to be 70 different concepts. It's the process that he taught, and I'm also doing that, and it has to be done by the end of November.
Okay.
So my wrist is not. Actually, I took out this because I couldn't work. So I have to, even that the doctor told me not to, but if not, I couldn't work.
You're right-handed though.
Yeah, but the thing is that the keyboard, I cannot access perfectly. It's a mess. Like it's not really comfortable.
You'll have to be like Homer and be like.
Yes, and even like Control Zeta is like. It's just like a really mess. So I'm just like feeling why this happening at the same time. And also I was so excited because I could structure my mastermind, the courage design mentorship. And I have this amazing structure that I really like. I did a research with a lot of different coaches from the design world, and I really like it. The structure that I did, but the thing is that I don't have time to do it now. So for me, the question for today would be good references for branding workshop. Also, if you can also share some logo inspiration websites, because I think I know them all, but maybe there's one that I don't know.
Okay.
And the other question is like how I make that the priorities for me is everything is urgent, no? So I know that you have to give more importance to the things that make you grow, no? And leave the urgent things behind. Yeah. And I also have to deliver a web design from another client this month also.
Okay.
So all these projects at the same time.
All right. Well, let's start with the easy one. Logo inspiration.
Yeah.
Like there's there's tons out there. The biggest one is Logo Lounge, but it's a paid site, so it's $100 for a year. But it has the world's biggest database, and in my opinion, the best logos. It is the best logo gallery. There's Dribble. Dribble is very good.
Yeah, I know it.
Pinterest, Logo Pond. Logo Pond, the quality has gone down in my opinion, but there's a ton on there. There's also I had a logo gallery site for a number of years as well. Logo of the Day, which a little bit dated now because I haven't, but there's still a lot on there. So that's the easy one. Branding workshops. So can you clarify what a branding workshop is to you? Like, what are you looking for?
Okay, so actually it's a business. It's not a branding. It's not a branding at all. Well, it's part of the branding. Core values, targeting, the target, the positioning, voice, but also is a business canvas. So I'm trying to look something that is between that.
Okay,
what
so
we used to do
is this like sorry to interrupt, is this like a day-long thing, or like what type of workshop are you thinking? Is like a brand sprint, like a few hours, a day, or like a few days? What are you thinking?
They're coming for 3 days. So we're working together 2 days, and I don't know if I have that much. Of course, well, maybe I can find a lot of info for 2 days, but I used to do a brand workshop in 4 hours, like at most. So yeah.
Okay, so you do a brand workshop in 4 hours, but you have 3 days to fill with these people.
2 days, because I won't work 1 day.
Okay, so it's 2 days. So it's a 2-day workshop. And the goal of the workshop, like how have you sold it through? Like what's the goal of it?
It is the goal that I told them of this website of this workshop would be to define the brand strategy. Also, it's kind of even deciding their business, because they're a startup. They don't have much idea what they want. So I also do workshops for business, for startups. So I was thinking about doing a model canvas that is super easy to make, and also the brand workshop after the canvas.
So just to clarify, these people, are they coming in to work on their own brand, or are they working on the same brand together?
They built a new company, they don't have a brand yet. They're starting a new company.
Okay, together, so you're helping them build the brand for their company in a workshop.
And so also their business.
Okay, so like, every person will be a different brand, different business.
No. It's 2 people, same brand, same business.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so you're working together on the same. Okay, yeah. Bye, Mike. You're working together on the same purpose, same project together.
Yes. The main goal, actually, what we're going to do exactly, Roberto and I, my husband and I, he's creating all the digital marketing strategy, how to create the funnels for selling these courses. They are going to create online courses for coaching. The name is the Happiness School, something like that. Is for having happiness. And what we actually are doing is the whole thing is going to be the funnel, the digital strategy, the brand strategy, and we're going into the business strategy as well, because this is part of it. So this workshop is part of a brand strategy, but it's not all that. Like maybe that would be a second day, I would guess.
So let's just loop back to the main question. What did you want? Like, what were you asking from the group? What were you looking for exactly?
I would like references for a good, complete brand strategy, but also that is focused in a business wise, in a business workshop. I don't know if there's something like that.
Okay. So this,
mm-hmm.
I do have a few things that I can reference to you. So I believe it was on Miro. It's like a brand development tool sheet, and it's a very hands-on. It kind of sounds good for a workshop kind of environment. Like
yeah,
we mentioned.
I know Miro.
So they have a few I guess boards in there that are for like strategy planning and brand development. So I'll check that out, because from what it sounds like, the workshop will help kind of define the business, sort of define the brand, and this kind of scenario would work well. There's also obviously Brandmaster Secrets has some, but it's more extensive. Probably too much for a workshop like that, but you could pull parts from it. The one said core could be a good work frame. I'm not sure if you've done core, but it does take a bit of getting to know.
Wow.
So,
Core,
but I think, core, like there's a lot of videos and it's a learning curve, so maybe too much for your current plate. But here's one that's, I'm going to copy paste.
Thank you. Miro already has templates. That's super
so people have put these together. These are two great ones. I think I've shared them once before in one of the discussions, but yeah, these two are great. They're one-day brand sprints.
Okay, great. Thank you. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, this will help you. I think this is exactly, sounds like what
Yeah, nice. This is what I already do with my, okay, see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In terms of your priorities, the simplest answer is to write everything down. Understand what you have on your plate and to know the repercussions if you don't miss these, like if you miss certain deadlines or goals, because there's certain dates that you'll have that you have to absolutely have it done. Other ones are flexible. So if you have these people coming in, say 2 days, then you have to have something to work with, right? So that's the priority. So just to have a full picture, write everything down and kind of rank it in order of like the dates and priorities, that will at least sort out some of it in the short term. It's just such a simple thing, but writing it down is key, and structuring it.
Yeah, I do think it's a good idea.
And also, if they're bigger projects, breaking it down into chunks. So, like if it's a website, just as an example, a website project, like you could do wireframing as like one project, and then chunk that up into just say like 3 days, for example. And then in those 3 days, what are you going to do? What pages are you going to do with the wireframing? So once you've done that section, move on to the next one. So it's really about breaking large projects down into smaller projects and then itemizing things. But before you do that, just write everything down so you know you have a clear picture.
Oh, it scares me to write that down. Like it's a lot of things.
Yeah, but you know what? Like just brain dump. Like get everything out. You're so powerful just brain dumping, because you have all this stuff at the moment and you don't have clarity. But as soon as you get it all on paper, your brain is free. You can start to move things around. It's very powerful.
Yes, it is actually part of the get the things done methodology. They call it exactly the collect box. It's amazing, and I do think that is a good solution, because what I already do is to put everything that I have to do, but not the chunk thing. So I think that might be super helpful.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's at the end a little bit of perspective, because I feel like I'm always in this same feeling. I'm also always overwhelmed by work. But I do think it's also like a perspective thing that sometimes, but in this case, I don't think it's a perspective, but it's true that it's also a perspective thing that I always feel overwhelmed. And
well, that's the thing, like this course is not broken down. You already identified the problem here, because like if you have like, oh, I have this big project here, it's a website project, I have to do this workshop, I have to do this thing. It's like, oh, where do I start? Because you haven't broken down into chunks, and you don't have to do it all at once. But as long as you have a clear picture of what to work on each day, then that it'll save you. It will, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That will I think it's a good solution for sure. Thank you so much.
Yep. Okay, so we worked on the workshop logos, priorities. We may have to talk. I'd love to see your breakdown process. Are you talking to me? No?
No, Luan. Just Asana.
Oh, Asana. Okay. Yeah. So I don't use any project management tools or anything myself. It's just simple whiteboard or paper. But yeah, other people do use tools like Asana, Dubsado, and all of that. It just depends on what type of projects you have going on and how you like to work.
In my case, I just decided that after all the project management tools that I have worked, for me, the best thing is a spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's whatever tool works for you and your process. And it's about trying different things. I know Bob has gone through many different ones, as well as Mike, and it just depends. It depends on who you're working with and the projects and how you work. So if a spreadsheet is what works for you, then do it. or hire Dan.
Yes, I just need to do the chunk thing. And I think the spreadsheet would be even larger. Someone told me that I read that Daniel has a lot of big spreadsheets. So you're like me, Daniel. You don't know. My spreadsheet has at least 30 different tabs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen Dan's new course, but he's been sharing it recently, and he's done his whole tool, not course, in Google Sheets. So it's pretty impressive. Once you see that, you're like, okay, I'm just an amateur.
I would love to see that. Yeah, we have to meet Daniel. I will send you an invite when you can.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I realize Luan and Maru haven't met. So Luan is probably the newest member in this group. Maru was on a break for a month or two, doing a travel and having a break, and now she's back into here. So Maru has a background in I guess public speaking and helping and design and helping I guess women with courage and becoming the best versions of themselves, and as well as with her husband as well, working in that space. So I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything else into that, Maru, but I forgot where you live in now. Was it Portugal?
No, we're still in Spain, but Spain. It's super near Portugal. So it's actually, so we decided to go nomads. Luan, nice to meet you. And nice to meet you. And so I would say I'm a more creative direction, trying to go into to leave my clients. That's what my goal is, to not have clients and live with passive incomes or with online courses. We are in that way. That's our goal for next years, I hope.
Yeah. So well, exactly. So passive income, bringing out a course, even though I keep warning that it's not passive.
I think they're never going to come like in this, but it's good. I'm also grateful that projects are coming and they don't stop. So that means that we're doing a good job. So I cannot complain. That's
awesome.
Good.
Great. Cool. Well, thank you, Maru. Good luck with your time management and the workshop.
Thank you. Thank you for the advices.
Yeah, no worries at all. We'll jump into Mr. Bob Ross.
Hey, everybody. Good to see our friends today. I was stuck in a rut, and a little squirrel came to my window and said, "We don't make mistakes. We only make happy accidents." I gotta turn my Bob Ross music off. All right, I can get rid of this thing now. It's annoying the hell out of me.
You were waiting so long to do that.
Oh God, I think you were torturing me for being late. Oh. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, I'm gonna hold class like this on Friday because it's like right before Halloween. So I have the whole Joy of Graphic Design screen that I'm gonna do and everything like that. So I'm gonna hold class like this on Friday.
You could get a little red nose and then you could be a clown as well after the fact.
That's next Halloween. I gotta reuse the costume. So now I got a nice chest, nice little chest hair going on here.
Oh, it's a multi-purpose costume.
Yeah, so business as usual, just busy as can be. I found out one of my big clients just got bought out, which is going to be interesting to see where that goes. She's one of my longest clients. She was a client of mine when I was at one of my agencies almost like 10 years ago, and she followed me do freelance. So it's according to her, business as usual. The company that bought them because they love what they're doing and they want them. They like, even though they got bought out, they all have jobs at this company now. So it's like different sectors. So she's director of marketing of her sector type deal. So they kind of got bought out in name only at this point. Who knows where it's going to go? But on the flip side, there could be other opportunities because these, I may have mentioned before, they put on continuing education meetings, medical education meetings all over the world. And I designed the look and feel and all that sort of stuff. And then, all the branding for each meeting. And then we have all different types of banner ads and posters and books and stuff like that. In this space, there's not a lot of good design. It's pretty hokey because it's like psychiatry and other medical, doctors don't really have a good finger on the pulse when it comes to design.
So what you did there.
Oh, I didn't even plan on that one. But they've commented before about they go to their meetings and everyone loves their work compared to other competitors. So it's quite possible that one of the reasons they got bought out is because of the overall level of the product that they provide, and there might be other opportunity in there for me for other properties that that will could possibly want some of that level. So it could go either way. We don't know. It's going to wait and see and see where it goes.
They always say it's like business as usual, but there's things happening.
Yeah, no, there is. And if I'd be more concerned if my client didn't have a job with the company that they were buying him out. So where it was a husband and wife team. And so when they bought the company out, they gave her a legitimate like vice president title, vice president of marketing type deal. So I don't feel that if they planned on kind of absolving the brand, that they would have let her come on. You know what I mean? According to her, they don't have a design department. They don't have a marketing department. It's not like they have stuff in-house that they're doing, where they're going to start demanding that she do things in-house. But again, we'll see what happens. The beauty of them is that they're serial entrepreneurs. Her husband already owns and runs another string of boutique healthcare facilities that I do a lot of work for. So, and we have such a long and great relationship that I know that she'll never, ever actually go away. It'll just be modified, in that regard.
So at least there's a backup option.
Yeah. No, there's definitely there's definitely they're good friends too. It's very rare you have clients that are friends, you know what I mean, that are good clients that are friends. We have plenty of friends that are clients we don't want to work for, but that's neither here nor there. So that's that. We just kicked off yesterday a large fundraising campaign for one of my nonprofits, which is really exciting. It's going to coincide with the holidays, and it's going to involve social email marketing, a website landing page, and stuff like that. It's kind of like set up like an advent calendar where every day a certain feature on the site's going to unlock for a certain amount of days, and
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff like that.
creative. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I remember you telling us about that. So that's it's in the works now.
Yeah, we just kicked that off yesterday. I had submitted the proposal. They approved it a while back, and then we just kicked it off yesterday. So that'll be due the middle of the month, and then into December. They're good. I mean, that client's going really well. They asked me to do some branding modification. Their logo is not the greatest logo, but it's very sentimental to the owner and of the nonprofit, who's more of a consultant at this point. She doesn't run the day-to-day, but she's still very involved in the nonprofit. And so I created a whole walkthrough. I modified the logo in small sections, but made it better. And created a whole presentation that walked them through where I did things and why I did it. And when she presented it to the board, they all fell in love with it. And the owner was like gushing over, where did you find this guy, and yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, that always bodes well for, it's always good to hear that kind of stuff.
Well, I have this TV show where I paint. It's like,
what's that?
It's like I have this TV show.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Well, I have you. But yeah, my biggest question for everybody, and I know it's been a joke and the AppSumo thing is in there. Does anybody have a legitimate client portal solution? I have an opportunity. Well, not an opportunity. We're taking over the website maintenance for another one of my nonprofits. And while I don't do the website creative, or I don't do the website modifications, I want to find a system where my web developer, they can just type in like, hey, I need to open a ticket on this, this type of edit, and it would like launch an email to me and my developer. So I don't have to be involved in everything. There's going to be a lot of behind the scenes work, like adding features and fixing bugs. So I'm looking for a project management or a ticket opening IT kind of solution. Monday? Yeah, that's kind of pricey though, isn't it, Monday? Yeah, I'm looking for something that's affordable, not AppSumo affordable, because I got to stay away from that. But something that I can absorb the cost. And I've heard great things about Monday. I might check it out because that's the thing. I mean, I've been this eternal search for project management tools, and one of them, my wish list, is why I've never stuck with anything, is because I've never found a good client portal or a good support ticket kind of like opening request kind of situation.
Yeah, so it depends on, like, I've used Jira. I'm not sure if you use that. It's more for software, but it's more for software, but that's one to consider. What's that other one that's Circle? I think Circle's in the name. Not Upcircle. I always say Upcircle. Circle Up. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
ClickUp.
ClickUp. I don't know why I say Circle.
ClickUp.
I've heard of that one too. I'll have to investigate that a little bit. Again, if it works with the project management, it'd be better. You know what I mean? Because then I can start sliding it into my regular workflow, which again, is what it is. We've documented those trials already. But at this point, the client hated it.
No, I did.
We probably have the same idea on project management software. It's a burden, but it's important, and it's more me than the software. But again, like I said, that's been well documented. I know Asana, but is that really client friendly from?
If you go to ClickUp and the bottom of the page, there's a link of like all their competitors. So they compare themselves, it looks like, to all their competitors.
It's an interesting model. All right, I'll have to check it out.
It's also, I guess, for SEO.
There you go.
Yeah, but now you have about 30 to go through now. So good luck with that.
That's I've probably been through 27 of them. But and I'm probably still paying for about 12 of them. But
free trial.
That free trial. When you sign up for that with all the best intentions, and all of a sudden the world just collapses around you. All other than that, like I said, just everything is still very copacetic. Just keeping busy, and projects are happening.
Yeah, well, congrats on I guess before I kind of just joked and said your Bob Ross thing, but congrats on selling through that the logo presentation as well. But that's
it
awesome.
was, the logo, I couldn't really change the logo too much, but like needed little detail fixes. And while it's not perfect, because it's not something I would have designed, it's much better than where it was.
Fine tuning and devil's in the detail, right?
Yeah. So and then the nice part about that is it's a snowballing kind of project, because the brand then will turning into a brand book, which is turning into social templates, which is turning into PowerPoint templates, which is, you know what I mean? So that was the first step of a bigger ecosystem, photo style guidelines and stuff like that. So they want a really comprehensive brand book that they can share. So, we're off on a good foot on that.
Good. All right. Was there anything you want to ask or bring up? I know you always have these awesome updates, so.
Yeah, no, I just, like I said, I think my biggest need right now is this client, at least ticketing software somehow, because I don't want to be involved with the day-to-day of it. You know what I mean? The goal is to separate myself from it. I've introduced my developer to them. They're cool, but I just, I still want to be involved and know what's going on, but I don't need to be the funnel of it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Interestingly enough, now that I think Dubsado is not on their competitor list, so Dubsado is, I don't know if they have ticketing. I haven't used it myself, but have you looked at that? Yeah,
I do pay for that one. I have to dig into that one. My magazine released last week, so it's at the printer right now, and I'm waiting for our first copy. But the beauty of that is that we've sold enough ads to cover our printing costs for about 8 or 9 months. Wow. So yeah, so we're really cool about that. We have a lot of a lot of full year contracts that we priced it as such, that in our first issue we sold enough for our printing costs. So that's pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, and it's just the beginning, right?
Yeah, first month. So so hopefully it's only going to grow and roll from there.
Totally. Awesome. Cool. Well, congrats on that again. It's I love hearing your updates, man. It's awesome. Always inspiring.
Always something. But thank you.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for the laugh as well.
Always. No, Halloween's my jam. I love it. So.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Maria. Keith, I will jump into Maria.
Hello.
Lucky last. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, sorry for being late. I thought it was at 10 p.m. Yeah, I didn't realize it would be at 9, which is better actually.
Well, it just changed half an hour, so maybe your daylight savings changed. I'm not sure, but it should have only changed half an hour.
Half an hour. Yeah, so it was at 10. So we started at 9:30 then.
I'm not sure of your times. I'm not sure of your time zone, but it just got brought back half an hour, so half an hour earlier than what would have
just
been.
half an hour.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
But we're here.
I need to change my calendar. Yeah. So, well, yeah, since last week, Friday, I said I had the juries of that. So that was the whole day. Interestingly, all the students were online. Started with the Founders Institute. I don't know for how long I'm going to keep going with that, because initially I said, I will just help a bit. Oh, ciao, Amy.
See you, Amy.
And I exported the posted course. I exported it twice actually, but it's fine. I'm at like 27 minutes. My goal was 30, but I have 2 videos missing. So I'll do that, like the intro and the closure, the ending.
Oh, you've got it.
Yeah, because actually I need to change one of them, because Daniel suggested I just put it for free, which is fine, because I didn't know for 30 minutes. I don't know how much I'm going to charge for that anyway. So I thought that would be why not? So I'll do that.
Where were you releasing it again? Was it Udemy?
The idea was to do it, I was planning to do it there, but speaking with Daniel, he was like, why don't you use like Teachable or things? So I
so
put
just to clarify, the purpose of that is to kind of like self-host it. So you promote it yourself versus Udemy. Is that?
Yeah. I'm still, although I created an account on Thinkific and I put the videos there, but it's not published yet. I want to look better into Udemy's marketing, or because it's overcrowded as well. So I don't know if it makes sense. But the idea was to create this course as a lead magnet. As Daniel said, just create a landing page on the website and then sell something else from there. And I think I will turn the initial lead magnet that I never ended up putting on the website, that is 30-page long or 40. Do something with it.
Yeah, it depends on what your goals are, because if you're trying to reach or if it's for profit or passive income, perhaps Udemy or Skillshare is the right option because they do all the marketing for you and you don't have to do the marketing. But if it's for a passive income, if it's for like a lead magnet, as you said, then there's different goals there. So I think just stepping it a little bit back from it to figure out why is key for sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sell it, so I'm happy to put it there for free. Again, it's.
So were you planning to put on Udemy for free?
Initially, no, but I didn't know, because Udemy anyway, you end up buying courses for $12 or something like that. So I wasn't sure. I was like, if it doesn't make sense to put it for like 30 or something, then you end up buying it anyway for 12. So in that way, if I have it there, it's all right, because I haven't showed it to anyone yet. It's been horrible editing it because I really don't like to look at myself, on videos and stuff like that. So, but I'm just gonna do it. So it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. It's always cringeworthy in the beginning. Like it just from one exactly. Tom Ross was talking about this before, and he in the beginning it's just so cringeworthy, but over time you get used to your voice and you get used to seeing yourself on camera, and it's just one of those things. But I'm glad that you're confident enough to put it out there and just doing it.
Yeah, I'll put it. I think I gained some confidence when I was doing those Dot Talks videos, but I was just asking questions, not really trying to talk a little bit. But here, just talking by myself and looking at the camera was a bit tough. I had to redo it twice, and I still have 2 videos to do. I'm like, oh my God, But I'll make those 2 maybe this weekend. I need to figure out what exactly I'm saying.
It's so different talking to like a camera. It's like a flat screen versus no one. It's someone. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. And I need to figure out exactly how I'm gonna do this, because if I put this PDF up for sale, I'm considering adding some templates or maybe an access to a Miro or something like that. Or even a Google Docs, because primarily it might not be designers looking at that. So I'm just figuring out exactly what I need to do, just to have the right funnel. I just don't want to put.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the reason why you're doing it and the purpose, like the end goal, is very important to consider, because that will help you realize what's the best way to publish it.
Yeah, the end goal would obviously be to sell my impact strategy program at some point, but I don't know if, that's a big goal. So yeah, it might be at the end of the funnel really, but I think I have to try and see what's going to happen. What I did as well, I created a survey and sent it to some people I know in small, medium businesses and corporations, just to see, you know, what do they use? Do they use Facebook? Do they use Facebook groups? Do they do LinkedIn? What's missing right now? What kind of meetings do they like? Just things like that to see if I'm in the right direction with what I'm doing. So I'm still getting some responses.
So can I just ask you how, I guess, you would go from, I guess, a post-it note course to so your strategy services, like how are you going to bridge that, I guess, make those connections?
So in this post-it course, I mean, I don't even know if I can use the word post-it, but I mean,
sticky note.
Yeah, I just use post-it because that's the only brand I use actually.
Well,
and I'm making it very clear on the in the course as well, because I tried other brands, you know. For me, these were the only ones that work because they don't fall off the wall and things like that. So this is the kind of content I'm putting out there. Like, how do you know, you don't do this, you know, you do that. So this is the kind of things I'm showing in this course. But some people don't know it, you know. It's
didn't
not.
know that.
Yeah, no, because if you remove it that way, when you stick it on the wall, they might be like that.
Gotcha.
So you won't see well. So when you do that, they stay straight.
Gotcha. All
So
right. Well,
this is when I start the workshop. That's what I say.
think I owe
That's
you
the first thing I
$12.
say. That's the first thing I say when, you know, I'm about to jump into, you know, workshopping with people.
I have to practice this now. How do you do it? Oh, that was curly.
Yeah. No, so it should be, so actually, it's really straight down.
Straight down. An amateur. Oh, I did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. I'm professional. All right. Good.
So yeah, I think people will. So I didn't do it for you know, designers who, you know, might know or not know this kind of things, because not everyone uses post-it notes anyway. So it can be for anyone who wants to run a meeting. How can I use post-it notes to get people to talk less and just share everything they have? This is what it is about. And that's the structure of the course. So, and what you said you didn't know that. Actually, I haven't come across anyone who knew that, you know, from all the workshops I've done. So
yeah,
some people will learn some things.
It actually feels good to do that. It's like a little sort of appealing. It's like,
yeah. And I even filmed myself, you know, doing that and looking a bit stupid because I had to move it, but I kept it because it's spontaneous, like, come on, you know. So yeah, my goal is to target those people who are more traditional and so on, also designers, I mean, whoever, and then see who would buy this PDF. Because it's Daniel's idea, sell something else actually, you know, with it, and then maybe your larger offering. So I just need to figure out how I'm gonna do that, and wrap everything again as well in the podcast.
yeah, yeah.
So
it is like a system, right?
yeah.
Amy's kind of doing this value ladder at the moment, and she has put together that email course and has brought out that PDF. I'm not sure if you're in that call where she brought us through it. But yeah, she's kind of building up to her strategy offer, and it sounds similar to what you're doing, just with a different different kind of course. That's why I was curious on like how you're bridging, like going from the post-it notes to the strategy.
Yeah, exactly. It's I will be attracting a bunch of people. Not everyone will be. Many of them will be, or maybe most of them will be only interested in the post-it course and then nothing else. This is why the last video is to see, okay, this is what I offer as well. But I will be emailing them, telling them this is only for, like, I don't know, $55, whatever it may be. I need to decide exactly how much. I haven't gone into pricing of this just yet. But this was what was supposed to be like 10 pages, ended up being 35 or 40.
Oh, wow.
And I'm glad in a way I didn't publish it.
Yeah.
Because now I can do something about it.
Good. Okay.
So yeah, I'll show you stuff whenever you want.
Yeah, share it in share it in Slack.
It's a video. It might be heavy, so yeah.
What is the link? I think.
No, there's no link. It's not published yet. That's why.
Yeah, but you can share like an unlisted video on YouTube or Vimeo or password protected, just so or Dropbox a special link. So there's different ways
I
around
can
that.
show you now if you want. Like all the videos are like 1 minute,
Okay.
1 minute 30 seconds. Maybe 2 of them are longer, like 5 and 3 minutes, but the rest are really short. So people can really watch them quickly.
Okay. Well, were you just to have the purpose of that? Were you after feedback on particular videos, or like, what's the purpose of it?
Feedback from, you mean, from you guys?
Yeah, like for the videos, is that what you're after?
Yeah, feedback is always welcome, because the thing is, I'm never satisfied, never. So I can always do better. So unless I get this, standard, it's good, just do it. Yep. Otherwise I'll be doing it again and again and again.
Okay. I'll probably say not in here because we're running over time already, and we can watch them in more detail on Slack, especially if there's a few of them. It just may go over, and that way we can watch in our own time as well and get back to you. I was going to ask about your podcast updates as well. What if you've done anything? If you had your interviews yet?
Yeah, I was supposed to have a call with 2 people. One of them was just to brief him and see, okay, that's what we're gonna do, but he's up for it. The other one, we delayed it till after the American elections, actually, because he's a lawyer in San Francisco, very voicey about this. He's not into politics, he just criticizes. So I wanted to talk about, the citizens' experience and stuff like that. And I told him, let's wait for after, because we will have more stuff to talk about as well.
Okay, all right. So what does that mean for your launch day? Like, does that mean it's going to be next year as well?
No, I'm aiming for this year, but instead of mid-November, I think end of November. Okay. Hopefully.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you have, and then you're also at, I guess the institute. You're back there. Is there any updates on there?
Yeah, we started on Monday, so Monday and Tuesday, because usually it's 2 weeks, but we always condense the first 2 sessions into one. Now, I said, okay, initially, because I was going to help with the recruiting events, and actually we did launch, because they delayed it 3 times, and a bit of mentoring, but right now it looks like I'm on all the sessions and 3 hours a week plus office hours and so on. And I do it differently, but I can, it's the Rome chapter, but now becoming Italy. And I don't want to put my name to something where people, when they present themselves, it's like they're unicorns. So I want to get out of it.
Okay.
Don't want to burn bridges. So I'm just figuring out how I'm going to get out of this.
Fair enough.
There's one person who's not going to be present for a month. So I'm happy to cover for, had them for a month, but I don't want to be.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, so that's going to be like a slower transition out then, just figuring out a way out.
Yeah, because initially I told HQ initially that I was not going to do it in Milan anymore unless I found a team and I can support them. But then and then so Milan was kind of dormant, and then this happened, having Italy instead of Rome and so on.
Yep.
And so yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't have anything else to ask. Did you have anything else to bring up? We'll look at the post-it notes in Slack. I think that's it.
Yeah, I'll just select one video and just randomly and stick it there. I mean, if it, I'll try to resize it actually.
All right. Well, okay. Well, thank you for the updates. I saw Bob Ross had a few yawns in there. It must be getting late. Getting late for you. But But yeah, it was a longer episode, this one, or session. It was great though. I loved it. Some awesome tips inside and some discussion. So I think, I'm not sure if you heard Bob and Maria, but next week we'll probably have a session on how to get clients. So yeah, I'll post that in the group. But no other housekeeping. That's it. So I'm going to let everyone go. It's been a long one. So thank you for hanging in there. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Slack.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.